Thanks for tuning in to the World XP podcast. If you're enjoying the content, please drop us up, drop a like, and let us know your thoughts below in the comments. Also, please consider supporting our podcast via the link below. It really helps us out. Welcome, Mike, to the World XP podcast. Mike, you have founded or started or organized or whatever word you want to use the World Cup pop-up shop up in Maryland. And this one, probably similar to the MMA one for those listening, is kind of a similar sort of promotional type podcast. But Mike and I have had several conversations, and I will be at the event, so figured we would get a conversation out there for the people to let everybody know what's going on. So welcome. I appreciate your time.
Yes, of course, and thanks. You were actually one of the first people to reach out when I put it up on Instagram. So it's nice to get you involved, and I really appreciate coming on the podcast and talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. So for those listening, Mike, you give us some background on what the like a short summary of what the event is, and then we'll get into how you came up with the idea, and then we'll deep dive into what people should expect to see.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. So the event itself, it's Thanksgiving week. It's out at a facility called SoFi out in Columbia, Maryland, and it's a really cool space. We got one field that's a five-a-side field, and then there's like a bar lounge area, and then this like upper deck area where we'll have some projection screens and stuff. So it's week of Thanksgiving, all three US games. So the following Tuesday we also are open, and it's really, to get kids and people interested in the World Cup. Myself, I became a soccer fan back in 2010, South Africa World Cup. It was awesome. Made it out of the group stage with the last second goal, with Landon Donovan scoring against Algeria. And I fell in love with soccer at that moment. So the goal is to get kids interested in soccer, and what better way to do it with the World Cup? We haven't qualified for the World Cup in 8 years, so I'm very excited to just watch the U.S. team play again. And yeah, that's kind of like the overall view. I think Monday through Wednesday we've got it's really like younger kids focused, because older kids will be in school. So we've got a free soccer clinic in the morning for 5 and under, and then we're doing a craft table, kind of get the kids busy, and then kind of just letting kids play on the field space, and hopefully parents can watch the games. Then Black Friday, Eric's coming out. World XP is doing a clinic for kids 8 and over, so a little bit older is the focus. Really, the central point of that day is the U.S.-England game. I don't think you need a whole lot of other activities around it. Like, that's the game everybody's looking forward to. It's Black Friday, huge day, so very exciting. And then over the weekend, we've got same thing. Eric's doing another clinic. We're running pickup games every single morning with high school players, high-level players. We've got a video game lounge coming. So we're doing FIFA tournament Saturday and Sunday. I'm playing all 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. games. And yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of work to get to this point, but I'm pretty excited. We're right on the doorstep of the event.
Yeah, I'm excited as well to be there. Everything from our conversations and just all the posts, the people that are going to be involved, is going to be. I'm very excited. It's going to be all soccer all day in one place, and like what else could you need?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it comes out. Like, I have an idea that people might show up, and when I had talked to you, you were one of the first people I talked to, so I didn't really know what the event was going to be so much. I knew I wanted to do a World Cup event. We can backtrack a little bit if you want, and I could talk about why the World Cup pop-up came around.
Yeah, go for it, because it's a lot of everyone wants to have people involved and watch the games together, but the first option that would come to most people's minds is like, let me just have some people over to my house. And you, on the other hand, were like, no, let me rent out a space and spend oodles of time and money to like organize this whole thing for a week. How did
Yeah, I feel like a dumbass sometimes is the truth of it all, because it's been a lot of work, and I don't know if people are going to show up or not. But the bottom line is, I'm 35 years old. Ever since I got out of college, I've always just taken white collar job, 9 to 5, work for somebody else. And this whole time I've had this burning desire. Like, I've always wanted to do something by myself. I've always wanted to start a business of some sort. I didn't know what that would ever look like. Like, for a while, I wanted to get into craft beer and start my own business in that. And then I worked for a craft brewery for a while, and then it just kind of didn't work out. I just kept with my day job. Mortgage payments came in. I got 2 kids, so I got to make got to make a living every single day. And then I'd say 2019, 2020, like pandemic rolled around, and I'm just getting super antsy. Like I'm very restless at my day job, which I still have, by the way, and I might still be doing after the pop up. But
I don't know.
I
Maybe
I,
they'll
I just
hear
kept
this.
I kept growing into this idea, like I want to open a soccer bar. Like I'm telling my wife, I'm looking at properties in Baltimore, like this is a storefront, like let's do it. Like I'm sick of all this hustle. But the bottom line is like we didn't have a whole lot of capital to buy a storefront and make a soccer bar. So my wife and I were just brainstorming. I had originally wanted the soccer bar to open like at World Cup time to like announce it and then play Premier League games and Champions League games and MLS tonight and all that good stuff. And it eventually distilled down to this World Cup idea because it's an event. It keeps the cost down for starting it. And if it's successful, then maybe it becomes some sort of soccer business. But I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. Like for now, it's just the event. I don't know if people are going to show up or not, and I appreciate that you're interested in it at least.
Yeah, for sure. We'll try and get this out with some ample time so people can know what's going on because I think for if people have time, obviously Thanksgiving week is rough because people are traveling and stuff, but definitely if you guys have time to go, at least come out to one of the days, like definitely do it because and bring your friends, tell people like it's gonna be a fun time for sure. Like there's no it's just gonna be like a giant Super Bowl party, but for a week for the World Cup. It's like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
else could you want?
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like I've been stressing about the details, making sure like every time slot's filled. But in the end, if you get a good crowd with a good atmosphere and you're watching the U.S. men's national team, it's gonna be a good time. And I think what kind of like made me what the idea was kind of born out of a little bit too was back in 2014. I was working in downtown DC and I got out of work a little bit early and they were playing all the games in Freedom Plaza and they had like a giant screen and
Yeah.
thousands of people were in there watching and cheering. I want to tell you who I remember who they played at the time, but it was one of the group stage games, so it wasn't Belgium. I'm forgetting who was in their group at that point. Maybe it was Ghana.
Portugal, Ghana, and the other one
It might have
escapes
been a
me.
Ghana game, and I feel like they tied, but
The Portugal
it,
game was the one that we tied because Ronaldo threw it across to Nani with 95,
mm,
95th minute. We tied that one. Ghana, we won 2-1. John Brooks header at the end.
oh yeah,
And the last group
John
stage game,
Brooks.
now it's going to bother me because I don't know, so I'm Googling it.
Good. Yeah,
2014 USA
I should
World
know this
Cup.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially when you've been advertising all your World Cup stuff the whole time.
I know. Don't tell them I miss you.
Germany was the other one. We lost one
All
nil.
right,
Thomas Muller scored the goal. I remember the goal actually. He scored the goal as like a deflection curler into the far corner.
but
Tim Howard didn't have a
we didn't need
chance.
any points out of that game, right?
No, we did. We got lucky. We got through with
Yeah.
4 points.
And then Belgium, we played a first round of the knockout rounds, and Wondolowski skied it, but against just a fantastic Belgium team who was
Mhm.
just starting to be on the up and up. I remember a young KDB on that squad, and I'm sure,
Bonkers. He was so good.
yeah,
Speaking of the
Hazard.
Wondolowski miss, I had a podcast with a guy named Chad Busick who does like sports psychology, and his brother is friends with Wando, and he told me he's like go back and look at that chance again, and I went back and looked at it, and he still should have scored 100%, but it's not as clear cut as everyone remembers it being.
Agreed.
Um,
Agreed.
and he was telling me, so shameless plug for that episode, go listen to it, but he was telling me about it afterward because there was somebody else that missed another tap in that wasn't Wando.
It was just so it was in stoppage time, so it was just like what
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
remembers.
it was, but there was one before that. I don't remember if it was Beasley or somebody else missed another golden chance like 5 minutes before that everyone forgot, and it's just weird how people's memories go with certain things. Like, yeah, I don't know,
You
but
know,
yeah,
I'm sympathetic towards Wondolowski because he played well in qualifying, and anyone that plays well in qualifying gets a chance to see the field in the World Cup. It's fine with me. And like, yeah, that ball it came up a little bit off the turf, and Yeah,
The
you can.
the
It
thing
happens
the
all the
thing
time.
that
Like people sky goals. It happens.
the thing that got me was I didn't realize how fast Courtois had come off his line. And Courtois is not a small person by any stretch of the imagination. And when a dude that big is rushing at you, you catch him out the corner of your eye, and all it takes, especially like on a half volley, it takes just one little thing to take you off, and it's
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
I mean, it is what it
I
is.
guess Belgium's kind of coming at the end of their run here. 'Cause I think the
Yeah.
defense is a little old. 'Cause I haven't seen their squad yet, but I think that Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld are still in the picture, which isn't a
Are they
great thing for their
really?
chances. Don't quote me on that, but they
All right.
have
Well,
been recently.
let's go look.
I think
So
Toby's playing in. Are they both playing in No, Toby's playing in Qatar, and Jan's playing in. He just moved to Belgium from Benfica.
I think he's at Anderlecht, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Let's see. All right, Belgium squad. Yeah, they're both there.
They're both
Mooney,
there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Munier, Castagna, Boyata, Denier. I don't think they'll start though, because they've got Denier and Boyata and a few others that might get into the team, and then or Dendonker might play at center back as well.
Yeah,
But from there forward, they're. I mean, they're still
yeah.
stacked.
I mean, I would argue that KDB is the best player in the world.
Yeah,
I think there's a solid argument for that.
yeah. You could definitely make that argument and not be and have it come down to opinion rather than
Right.
facts.
What it all is. That's what it
Yeah,
all
for
is.
sure. So as this is a USA focused event, let's go on to the US squad because I looked at it very briefly, and
Let me
you
just
had
pull it up
mentioned
here.
that you
Yeah.
wanted to chat about it, and I had
Sure. I
seen
mean,
based on
I
the
was
headlines, there's a couple surprises in there. Most notably, I'd say Zach Steffen is not on the roster.
yeah, that's the big one for sure. Yeah, yeah, that's a head scratcher for everybody just because Zach Steffen played for Greg Berhalter in Ohio and then was part of every single qualifying game, and not part of every game, but on the roster for all the games, played a bunch of games. Just seemed like Greg's guy, so it was very surprising to see him off. But that being said, he's had a bad run of form. I think in City he made some pretty obvious blunders,
Yeah,
just very gross looking goalkeeping errors.
yeah.
And then as of late, it seems like he's playing much better for Middlesbrough. But everybody knew that Matt Turner, Arsenal deputy, was going to be the starter. So
And
goalkeeper's what
he's
it
been
is.
playing well also.
Yeah, yeah, he's been playing well in the Europa League games. So, and then I don't watch much MLS, but I know Sean Johnson is apparently very good, and
I
Ethan
mean,
Horvath.
he's the stereotypical American goalkeeper, like great shot stopper, other qualities left to be desired, but he can pull out a Tim Howard performance every once in a while.
I was discussing with I do a podcast called Rooster in the Ville, and it's soccer focused, and we were saying this is the worst goalkeeping group we've ever brought to a World Cup in our lifetime, just because
Yeah, I would agree
Brad
with that.
Friedel was around for so many years, then Tim Howard, Teller, Miola, and Guzan,
Mm-hmm.
like Aston Villa
Yeah.
Guzan.
Mm-hmm.
Although he never got a shot with Timmy between the
No, of
posts.
course not. Tim Howard was. Did you see after the Belgium game, somebody went on his Wikipedia page and changed his position to Secretary of Defense?
I had heard that at one point.
Yeah,
That's
that
yeah.
was funny.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just remember him standing on his head that game. Like definitely the only reason that Wondolowski had a chance to miss to
Mm-hmm.
tie the game.
Yeah, 100%. Um, defenders. I don't. I'm looking through very briefly. Have you looked at it already? I assume you have.
Yeah, I've got it up here. I think the one surprise, Tim Ream in was a surprise to me,
Mm-hmm.
and Shaq Moore in as well. I know he moved to Nashville this year. Like I said, I don't watch a whole lot of MLS, so I didn't. He hadn't been in the picture all qualifying. He played some Gold Cup last summer, so he
Who
was
would
a,
have
he was a bit
been
of a
who would have been the
surprise.
ones in and ahead of them? Uh, I don't see. Oh,
So
Reggie Cannon, I guess, would have been one. But
yeah,
who
Reggie
for Tim?
Cannon won at right back, and then Sam Vines, who's injured for
He got
Rangers,
injured.
seemed to
Yeah.
be kind of in the picture for a little bit there.
Who would have been in for Tim Ream?
McKenzie, maybe. I don't
McKenzie,
know.
and
I'm
then
wondering, did
Chris
they bring
Richards
an
got hurt
extra?
also.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now because
Because Chris Richards would have been
Chris
in,
Richards. Yeah, yeah, that's
he
right.
got
That's right.
injured.
Yeah,
He's hurt, so
and
it
then
would.
John Brooks was talked about, but yeah, I don't know. I think our defense is like Belgium, probably our weakest point. I would think you're seeing Walker Zimmerman as a lock at center back, and then
Probably Carter Vickers as well. He's been playing really well, I think, from what I've heard.
yeah, for
Obviously,
Celtic.
he's been in the Champions League games against Real Madrid and they've been competitive. Well, except for the last one, really. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that would probably be my preferred pair, but then I'm hearing Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson, since they play at the club level at Fulham together, might make some sense on the left
yeah,
side. But Tim Ream's old, he's 35, and I've never been a huge Tim Ream stan. So yeah, I think defense I'm a little scared of our defense,
yeah.
especially going against England.
Joe Scally's a interesting one for me because I'm a Dortmund fan, so I watch a lot of the Bundesliga, and every
Uh,
time I watch him, he's been really good, and then I wonder why he doesn't get into the team. And obviously, Dest is talent-wise, he's probably one of the best players on the roster, but I don't know, like they're all so young, like between Robinson, Scally, Dest, uh, if Richards and Mackenzie were there, they're all so young that it's kind of like, what do you do with that? It's like
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really know. Like
Let's
Joe
tell you
Scally, I think defensively is better than Dest, but Dest is better going forward. So I don't really know. I don't know what he'll do. I assume he'll start. I assume my guess would be Dest at right back, Carter Vickers and Zimmerman, and then Robinson at left back.
I
Or Joe
like that.
Scally can
Yeah.
also play left back, so I don't know. But that would be my guess as to what he would do. But
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. I'd be surprised if it wasn't that four lining up the first day.
yeah, because Aaron Long's been he had Achilles, I think, was his injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, he had a major Achilles injury and just has looked terrible in the red, white, and blue. That's probably my least favorite defender that showed up on the roster.
Yeah, well, that sucks because he's great in FIFA. So
Uh, and maybe I'm a Euro snob, as they say. So who really knows?
yeah, who
We
knows?
are young. We're young across the board. Our
I'm
midfielders too.
excited for 26.
Yes, in the U.S. too.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hoping the pop-up turns into, is like some sort of scenario where maybe I could work for the 2026 World Cup,
that would be sick.
right? Get some
See,
free
that's why
games in.
I was like, this could turn into something if it goes well. Let me make sure I get in there first
Yeah,
before
yeah,
he
yeah.
fills up with
Sorry I
people.
kept you hanging for a little while too. I
No,
wasn't
it's all good. Well,
quite sure where to put you.
I mean, that makes sense. I also would have done that if I was you, to be honest. So, all right, midfielders wise, are we going to end up going 4-3-3 probably?
I would think so. Yeah, yeah.
Then we've
And then
got
MMA in the middle. It's kind of the lock. Musa, McKenny, Adams,
yeah, I'd say so. Although they list Aronson as a midfielder.
which is
Um,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Not that it really matters, to be honest. They'll play where they're
Right.
going to play, but yeah, if Adams, Musa, and McKenny are definitely our best midfielders, I think, and that's not even a discussion
Yeah.
in terms of
Agreed.
central midfielders. Acosta is decent because he doesn't play
I like
outside.
Acosta a lot,
He doesn't play outside himself, which is the thing. Like he plays simple and he wins his tackles, and that's kind of what you need.
and his free kicks are better than
Yes.
anybody on the team by far.
Yeah. I agree with that as well. Um,
Because I think Pulisic, if he's not on the field, Pulisic is taking our free kicks, which
Reina took a penalty for us
Reina, that's
last
right.
week. He can
Yeah,
take them.
yeah, yeah. Reina, he'll probably be the one taking.
Yeah. So if
Yeah,
we go with those three in midfield, and then up top, what sucks about the front three is like if you were to pick the best three players, who would your best three players be for the just if you had to pick our best three attackers, who would you pick?
our best three,
Regardless of position.
personally.
Don't
Yeah,
feel the need to
okay.
put a nine.
Regardless, Pulisic, Aronson, and Weah.
Well, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
So
Weah.
for me, it's those three or interchange Reina for one of the other two. But
Reina too. Yeah, I feel
so
bad leaving him off because
they're all
yeah,
wingers.
Reina.
They're all
Yeah.
wingers or tens. So that's the thing. So it's
Uh,
like, where do you put where do you put them? I know Pulisic has played through the middle some occasionally, but I almost feel like
I think you put Gio in the middle. I think you go Gio, Aronson on the right, Pulisic on the left, and then probably Ferreira up top. Although I'm a Pepe guy. I would rather have had Pepe there.
has he been? He had an awful time with Augsburg. I know that for sure
He
because I remember
did.
watching him and wanting him to do well. And every time I would go look at their results, it was like subbed off 60 minutes,
Yep.
nothing on the score sheet, and I was like, ah.
I know. And then he got loaned to Groninger in the Netherlands in Eredivisie and went on a bit of a tear. And I think he was so important in qualifying that it was hard to ignore that. But obviously, Greg didn't think so. He brought Jesus. He loves Jesus Ferreira, which he's a very good player and solid on the national team. I'm not that sad about it. I think his link up play is good as
Mm-hmm.
a number 9 up there, especially when you have Pulisic and either Weah or Aronson running on the wings.
Mm-hmm.
So
I haven't seen enough of Haji Wright to know
yeah,
anything about him really. I don't spend
everybody.
my free time watching the Turkish league, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. I can't even say his team's name. Antalyaspor, something like that.
Let's see. Antalyaspor.
There you go.
Yeah. Tim Weah has always been good for the national team, though. Every time I've watched him, I've been impressed. Sargent, when he was in the Bundesliga, I was left not very impressed with, but apparently he's been playing well also.
Yeah, in the second division, the championship.
Yeah,
But yeah, every time I watch him, I watch all his goals and the highlights in Norwich from this year. He's obviously like having a great run of form, but I've never been that impressed with his play and on the U.S. men's national team, and
yeah.
definitely at Werder Bremen when I caught a game.
The thing with strikers, especially going into tournaments like this, is you want to take the ones that are hot, which is weird that he didn't take Pepe if he's been playing well. I don't actually. Let me Google what Haji Wright has been doing because
Haji
I
Wright has been on a tear as well. He's
oh
actually
has he
had a nice run of form in the Bundesliga.
oh
And
Haji
what
Wright
I was
the
reading
Turkish league
earlier,
no the Turkish league Haji Wright
sorry, yeah,
yeah
sorry,
yeah
misspoke. Yeah, Turkish league. But he was choosing between P Folk and Haji Wright as kind of like his target men type of strikers off the bench, late off a set
hmm
piece type of deal.
well PFUC he started off really well but he cooled off recently so
He cooled off a
I'm
lot, right?
yeah I'm not really mad about that to be honest like Union Berlin is still set they're still second in the league but
Uh,
um that's more defensively rather than him scoring a lot. I think only has 3 or 4 goals this season, and they just all happened to be in like the first 5 games. Um, yeah, I'm not mad at that. Then, to be honest, I think I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'd say like the thing with having a young team like that is if they all play to like fullest potential, we can definitely get 2 wins out of that group for sure. Um,
what's weird in the World Cup too is like a win and a tie might do it. You're only playing 3 matches,
mhm.
but I don't know. I don't know. I was very optimistic after the summer, the Gold Cup final run, the CONCACAF Nations League win, and then qualifying. It was kind of crazy, like especially losing 2-0 at Costa Rica in the last game, and then looking very uninspiring in the friendlies leading up to the World Cup. I'd like to be optimistic, but I feel like our team's soft. Like it's not like the 2010, 2014 USMNT teams. Like I don't know, we just seem too young, too
Well, that's
entitled, and
that's what
it's too
happens when you
quick.
bring kids, to
Yep,
be honest. So I
youngest
don't know,
team in
like
the World Cup.
yeah, so I'm looking at the Wales squad and like if you go man for man just down like goalkeepers, you could say Hennessy or Danny Ward are better, but they're both like 57 years old. Like Ben Davies is probably the best defender on both
I'm I'm
teams.
a Tottenham fan, so he's
Yeah.
got his pluses and minuses for sure.
Yeah. Like Ampadu is decent. Nico Williams is decent, but like these are not players that are better than like the reason why Serginho Dest was at Barcelona and Milan and Nico Williams is at Nottingham Forest. Like he's better. And then like even in midfield, like the only one that really like I take Adams over like Harry Wilson is a 10, so like he's not really a defensive midfielder, but you take Adams and McKennie over pretty much everybody on that squad.
Yeah, Adams. I mean, I know the Leeds fans just absolutely adore him. What do you
Yeah,
think of his national team performances? Like I've always known he's solid, but I wouldn't have pointed to him as like one
he
of our better players.
he
But I think he
plays
probably is.
he plays better for club than country because he's one of those players that there are players that can raise their game when the level goes up, but they're not gonna take over a game in the way that like his game is predicated on winning the ball back and giving it to the attackers. So if the attackers aren't as good, then he doesn't look as good, but he still does his job as well as anyone. So
Yeah, I
I
mean, he's a
would
lock starter for sure.
yeah, I love him as a player. Like he's one of those that you could put him into like top Champions League games and he'll play well because he doesn't do too much. He wins the ball back and gives it to his teammates. Like when he was playing with Leipzig, he looked like a stud because when he wins the ball back, he was giving it to Sabitzer and Nkunku. And when he goes to the national team and McKennie's injured and Moose is not playing, then he's giving it to like Areola and Roldan. It's like those are not the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. Roldan was a surprise inclusion. Jordan Morris too, a bit of a surprise inclusion. But we keep
That's a
talking
pace
Wales.
one. That's a pace one. You gotta put Morrison just because like off the bench just like you'd have it was the same reason why they took Yedlin in 14 and not Klopp Klinsman just would put him on the wing and just they would hoof diagonal balls over there just because he's so fast. Jordan
Yeah,
Morris is the same.
I didn't even know he
Um,
was that fast. Like I've liked Jordan Morris prior to this qualifying window. Like into the last 2018 World Cup
mhm.
qualifying, I really loved Jordan Morris, but I thought his the ship had sailed a little bit for him for national team. But
Yeah, he still got the pace though, the straight line pace. It's just the he was doing well enough to then go potentially go to Europe and then he tore his ACL and then like he's back and he's fine, but the ship to like the next level has sailed, but he's still in my
yeah,
opinion anyways, I think
you
he's still serviceable as a super sub.
sure.
I don't think he shouldn't be starting, but
I
super
doubt
sub
he'll
for the
start. I
pace
really
and
doubt.
he's strong and he's strong as well. You put him up top through the middle and just play some through balls against some tired center backs, like he's a handful for sure.
Huh. Huh.
Then the forwards for Wales, Bale, obviously,
Yep. Dan
and then
James,
and then
quick. But
yeah,
we're
but
favored to win that game.
no end. Well, we should be. And then Kiefer Moore is a handful. That's just because he's big. So like we
Two
should be.
goals against Tottenham.
Yeah, and then they threw that one away.
They did. It's great. That
I don't
was a
know.
fun game to watch.
I think like this is the game that we should win, but it wouldn't shock me at all if we ended up with like a 1-1. And then and
1-1 won't kill them. If they win, they put themselves in great position because then you either need probably a tie or you would like a win against Iran. But I think Iran's actually, from what I've heard, a pretty solid squad.
they are.
Obviously, we're favored. Expects anything out of that game other than England expecting 3 points out of us, but you
Yeah.
never know.
Well, if Southgate goes like anti soccer, then I don't know. We could end up with a tie against them for no reason.
Be great. Imagine a win. Just be fantastic. At the pop up too. Imagine for a second, if you will, if the U.S. wins all three of those games, how cool that would be.
The pop up would be going bonkers Black
You going
Friday.
bonkers. Yeah,
Everybody
you
on
going
Amazon
bonkers.
Prime getting their Black Friday deals, watching the USA win against England, drinking beer. What else could
Yeah,
you want? What else
exactly.
could you
Yeah.
want?
Yeah, there's beer. It's not just for the children. There's beer and wine available and yeah, it'll be a freaking good time.
For sure. All right, so let's go quickly into like back into the event. You mentioned some of the stuff, but like
Sure.
let's just say for thought experiment, you get like a good chunk of people out there. You mentioned some of the things, but like how's it going to be set up for the day? People are going to walk in the door with their ticket and then what happens?
All right. That's a great question. That's a very great question because this is the annoying part about having it at SoFi in an athletic facility is you have to go through a waiver process. So it's sign a SoFi electric waiver electronic waiver, saying basically we won't sue you for playing on the field. And then because this is an event, there's actually a second paper waiver. So people are going to have to sign that, which sucks. Like I was fighting tooth and nail to just try to get it to one waiver. It is what it is. It is a soccer facility. And once you get in there, like it's a massive space. It's beautiful. It's a fantastic place to watch a game. It's a fantastic place to play. So I think we're going to try to do it as quickly as possible. There's like a front desk area with SoFi, and then we'll be back a little bit where our waiver and then ticketing process, we're going all square. So just, you see squares everywhere. And hopefully we move that line pretty quick. So then once you get in, you go into this bar area that sits about, I think comfortably about 160 people. There's 7 TVs that they already have on site that have the games, have the sound. And then Monday through Wednesday, we'll have a 120-inch projector in the corner with some couch space. And then upstairs, we got a 150-inch projector, which that area fits about 150 comfortably as well. There's some standing area, but we could fit a pretty good crowd in there. And then, so I'm hoping with the partnerships and everything that we've got, that we're getting enough word out there. We've got some ideas the last 2 weeks with press releases, and I'm inviting mommy bloggers out to come Monday through Wednesday, just to get the word out. And really the struggle with Monday through Wednesday was, let me roll back a little bit and talk about the field space for a second, because we have a 5-a-side field every day. So they have 8 fields in the facility. I've rented 1 for the pop-ups. We got the field, the bar area, and the viewing deck up top. So thinking 300 people for like a cool ass watch party. The field space, we're running pickup games 9 to 11, and I've got these awesome guys, Abraham and Alberto. They're 2 Mexican American brothers that run pickup every Monday and Thursday out in Glen Burnie. They get about 80 guys on a typical night, where they're getting college players, high-level high school players to play pickup. So I've basically said to them, like 9 to 11 a.m., the space is yours, and they're kind of running that all through their Instagram and it's really like that's all them. Like I'm hoping 9 to 11 is the tough time slot for pickup games, but they're pretty confident they could fill it up. And then Monday through Wednesday, all the kids are still in school. So I was like, how can I get people into this space for while kids are in school? And I thought, I've got a 4 and 2-year-old. My wife is always looking for things to do. She's off on Fridays and she's going to farms and all different sort of events. And I figured there's enough people and kids in the area where if I made Monday through Wednesday morning very kid friendly, like maybe I could get people in for the morning game. So that's why we've got this 5 and under clinic through a company that specializes in it called Crab Kickers, and then a craft table where it's just stickers and tattoos and coloring and like all things kids like to do. And then the halftime contest for those days will be very kid centric, like a 5-year-old kicking a ball from midfield and getting like a soccer whistle. And all the money, so it's $5 extra for the halftime contest, but all that money is going to this pediatric cancer. It's not a pediatric cancer research, but it's more of like pediatric cancer support. So they raise money for families that have kids that are fighting pediatric cancer. So that halftime show is $5 every day, and that money is all going to pediatric cancer, off the charts. And so I'm hoping that will be, something that gives back to the community in some way. And then I don't know. You want to ask a question from there? Because now I've talked myself into a corner
No,
over
you're good.
here.
Okay, so then you've got the halftime stuff, the contest, the pickup, the different clinics and stuff for the kids, and then how do things kind of go from there? So like, what would you've got like your weekdays one, the Monday through Wednesday, and then
Yeah, and
obviously
then
you've got the
Monday,
weekend one as well.
USA Wales at 2 p.m. I think we're turning the lights down low and trying to make the game the main event. Howard County Schools, where SoFi is that day, is closed. I've had a lot of youth coaches reach out and are interested in bringing their teams out. So I'm hoping that's kind of like the game itself is the atmosphere Monday afternoon. All right. So then we got Mexico, Poland on Tuesday at 11 a.m. which I'm hoping, with Abraham and Alberto and the large Mexican community in the area, like hopefully that will be a draw as well. Tuesday. Wednesday is the day I'm a little nervous about. It's Spain, Costa Rica, Canada, Belgium, which to me are cool games, but I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a huge draw for everybody. So we're doing I don't know if you've heard of Bino boards. It's kind of like it's like foosball, but you kind of flick the ball and you get like one turn per flick. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, once you see a video of it or play it, I think it'll be fun. So we're doing a tournament in the afternoon. And then Black Friday is kind of like the crown jewel because it's USA England. The whole day is centered around that. But again, we're doing pickup in the morning, 9 to 11. Then you're running clinics for 8-year-olds plus on the field from 11 to 12. And then giving kids just a chance to run on the field for a bit and play while the parents can like chill. And then doing the halftime contest again. But that day, hopefully there's a special guest. The nonprofit has some connections where there'll be a beat the keeper contest. It could be a local professional goalie that's the keeper that you beat, but that's still a little bit up in the air yet, so I don't want to promise anything. But that would be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Then USA England at 2, and we're doing some raffles that day. Some jerseys and some World Cup pop-up stuff, and yeah, so that should be pretty fun. And the weekend, and every day we're playing just the 11 a.m. 2 p.m. games. Mexico Argentina is on that Saturday, so that
That's
should
a
be
good
another.
one.
Yeah, that's a really good one, a really fun one. But we're also doing a video game lounge all weekend. So I got this company called Next Level Gaming coming in, and they're setting up five TVs, 5 systems in this little corner area, and it'll have all the latest games, whatever the children are playing these days, besides FIFA, Fortnite, and whatever. Like I don't know, they're having all the latest games, but we're also running a FIFA tournament for Saturday and Sunday through that company. Yeah, and then we're doing spot kick. If you've seen it, it's like cornhole for soccer. Have you seen
Yeah.
that? Yeah, we're doing a spot kick tournament that afternoon on the field, and then Sunday is kind of the same thing: Croatia, Canada, and then Spain, Germany at 2 p.m. But same deal, FIFA tournament. We've also got D17 Athletics, who's a clothing company, coming out that day and setting up shop. And then the final Tuesday, I'll be ready to call it a day, is the final U.S. game, USA Iran, and then England Wales plays at the same time. And that's kind of a lighter day activity wise, just because it may end up filling up. But if the rest of the days have shit attendance, I'm gonna be like, okay, we can dial it back a little bit, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. For those listening who think they're good at FIFA, show up on the weekend.
Yeah, it'll
And
be 16 teams knockout tournament, first come first serve. So we'll have a bracket up on
very
the
nice.
wall, and you have to write your name, and no extra cost for that. Although the video game lounge in and of itself is $5, $10 tickets in advance, and then $15 at the door just to get in the pop up shop.
Very nice.
Beer and
Where
wine.
can where can the people find the website? How can they buy tickets in advance?
Yep, it's worldcuppopup.com. That's definitely the best place for information. Instagram too, at World Cup Pop Up. Running tickets in advance on Eventbrite. If you search World Cup Pop Up Colombia, you'll see it on Eventbrite. Then day of, we'll just be running a square system, so might be a little bit easier day of. Hoping $15 isn't too much of a price point to make people not want to come, but I figured kid centric. It's a little bit different than a bar. Kids get to play on the field. Parents get to enjoy a beer while the kids play on the field. So yeah, I think it'll be a good time. I'm looking forward to the event. Looking forward to the World Cup itself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I look forward to being there. Appreciate your time. Guys, I'll put the link in the description. Go get tickets. Go to this event. It's going to be good. And then if it goes well, we can have a super big one 2026 when it's here, and that'll be more fun. So
let's go. Yeah.
Show up. Show up.
Hopefully I'm going to real games in 2026, at least a couple of those.
Yeah, well, we can, I don't know, maybe organize a pop-up outside one of the stadiums or something, do something like that. Like that would be sick. So to make that happen, guys, show up. And then if you're good at FIFA or you think you're good at FIFA, show up on the weekends. Obviously, Black Friday coming out. Fingers crossed we'll get a result against England.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Imagine watching with 300 people too. It'd be, yeah. Just don't throw beer everywhere because I don't think SoFi is going to like that very
No,
much.
probably not. Although, I mean, people are signing waivers, so I don't know,
That's true. That's
maybe
true.
it'll be fine.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
All right,
I
thanks, Eric.
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Any last nickels?
No, that's all I got. If you come out to the pop-up, say hi to me. I'll be at the registration table with a captain armband on with the rest of the folks that have captain's armbands on. But yeah, if you love soccer, this is the place to be.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Make sure you're there. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.